Textual Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Supply, this is Richard.
Hi, Richard. This is Cory. How are you doing today?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm pretty well. Pretty well. So I just put in the quote for that guy. I mean, I let him know we were going to be working on it, but figured I wanted to get all the 30-plus options recorded before I lost them. So what I did was 231350.
Yeah, so...
Steel stiffened. Yeah, there's a bunch of different details we've reviewed here.
Yeah, so... So you've got 307 18-gauge steel stiffened doors. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, steel stiffened doors are the medallion doors in the Seco catalog.
Okay.
So medallion, we had spoke about Regent and Legion and Omega and Ultra, and this is the medallion.
This is the one that's like reinforced with bars of like metal, like you'd put in like a car or other things where you reinforce it with strips, kind of. Yeah,
you know, a lot of people used to call those rib corridors because there are internal ribbings, but the channels look more like a hat. If you were to put a hat on, if you look at the cut sheet in the technical manual, the 2014 Seco technical manual, you'll see what the core construction looks like. So every 6-inch on center, or about 6-inch, there are these steel welded hat channels. They're called ribs, or known as ribs. Between those, you have mineral rock wool insulation. Think steel wool.
Okay.
Except that it's not steel wool, but it looks like that. Now, a steel stiffened door historically was used in the 1960s and 70s as a means by which to obtain a 3-hour fire rating. The way that they were building doors, apparently they could not get the door to survive a 3-hour fire test, something that you're very familiar with, without it being that construction. But steel stiffened doors are by no means required to pass a 3-hour fire test. In fact, a honeycomb door will pass a 3-hour fire. That Regent honeycomb door will pass a 3-hour fire test. The steel stiffened door, in my opinion, outside of a very heavy-duty industrial factory application, is never a good idea, because between those areas of the hat channels or the ribs, there's nothing underneath the steel except steel wool. So if you were to hit the door in that area, there's not really anything below it to support the door. So those doors dent, or can dent. Now, the other problem with them is they're obscenely heavy, even in an 18-gauge door. The third problem with them is that they're expensive. The fourth problem with them is, if you look at the tech sheet, imagine having to cut a window prep into a steel stiffened door.
Oh.
Okay. Tried it. And what's really funny about that is when you're cutting a door and you don't know it's steel stiffened, your jigsaw tells you really fast. Your jigsaw lets you know you just hit something you didn't know was there. They're heavy, they're expensive, they're not supported underneath very well. Problem 5 or 6 is that there's the potential for the telegraphing of spot welds, because those steel channels were historically welded in. And I think some people hold them in with epoxy now. But when you weld steel channels, and then you're the door manufacturer, you weld the channels in, you prime the door, and only when it's painted can you see the fact that there's evidence of spot welds or some sort of welding. Projection. It wouldn't be projection welding, but some sort of welding. That's a problem with those, so we don't like them because of all those reasons.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
It's a misnomer, in my opinion, that someone thinks a steel stiffened door is better I've never been, it's never been proven to me that they're better. So why the customer wants steel stiffened, it could be just meeting a specification. The spec requires steel stiffened. Don't bring it up to me. That's what I want. Okay. So looking at your quote, you got 3070, 18 gauge doors that are steel stiffened. You have a jam depth of an unusual size, but not unheard of. The frame is welded. You have wood stud anchors. You got a 12 by 12 window. Yeah, you're definitely going to want the factory to prep that. It's 20 minutes. You have a 5-inch tall hinge. That's a great idea. Heavy duty. That's a great idea. 5-inch. That's a BB. That's a BB 1168 if you're Hager.
Okay.
That's a great idea. You've got a crash chain. That's an awful idea because a crash chain is held in with 4 number 8 sheet metal screws. You're going to want your client to rethink that.
Go back to number 2 about how heavy it is.
Yeah, definitely. You got an exit device with a handle. You got their exterior doors because you got weather stripping most likely. Yeah, so now your client wants a price, and the client's going to say, well, you already gave me a price. Got it. However, your client also qualified that they're looking for 6 weeks. So you are obligated to let the client know what the lead time is for what you quoted them, which is going to be greater than 6 weeks.
I said 16 to 18 in the chat was my estimate because it was going to be long. If they need
It's
6
probably
weeks,
good. It's probably going to be 8 to 12. So what you do now is you pull up the ASA Connect website and you find out what your local distribution center has, or you just call. These people are in Ohio, so Chicago. You could call over to the Chicago service center and find out what medallions they stock. You could call Jeff over at Atlanta and find out what medallions he stock. There is a PA facility as well under the vendor profile. And if you can't do it, just call Jessica. She can get you logged into ASA Connect and walk you through the steps of how to do it. But you'll want to check inventory and say, okay, so we can meet your 6 weeks because my wholesaler has them in stock and your price goes up by 1.45.
Right.
But your lead time goes down by 0.66. So if that made any sense at all.
It did, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And that was that's luckily one thing I picked up, was that, the door configurations on the website, they're long lead time. When you're asking for, do we need to meet a lead time? Sure, it's going to cost you more.
Yeah. So what's interesting about the 12 by 12 window size is they ask for fire rating. Okay, they've got fire rated 20 minutes. So
that's the least expensive option on there. I asked them about that. I said, you don't want a fire rating on the door, but you do on the window, and there was no option for a cheap glass other than we'll provide on their own. So that's why he called that out. He doesn't need it to be fire rated on the glass.
Well, that's a major I see it. Yeah, I see it. The problem, that 1/4 inch tempered and that diamond wire, that's wrong. That's definitely wrong. That needs to get fixed. I've never noticed that because for sure we're going to be paying for 3 square feet, or maybe it's 9 square feet. I forget what the rule is. And let's say it's $10 a square foot, and let's say we mark it up by 2. Yeah, those both have to be fixed. Because the correct price for tempered glass is 1/4 inch clear temp is about $185. So we'll get those fixed. Tempered and diamond wire. So you can provide your client clear tempered for that price that he paid. It won't be fire rated glass. If anything, that fire rated glass price is what's wrong. That needs to be $500, and the temp and the diamond wire need to be $185.
Okay.
So
good to know.
Yeah, and then looking at the rest of this, I don't see any other trouble. So in conclusion, I would recommend that you look at the Seco 2008 product catalog and look at the medallion page. Mm-hmm. You could also I would recommend that you go to the price list and look at the medallion price list options just to look at it all. Then I would recommend you going to the 2014 tech manual and looking up medallion and just or steel stiffened and looking at the anatomy of that door, and just look at it. Spend 6 minutes on those documents and digest it and put it in the back of your head and file it away. And then the next time someone says steel stiffened, you're like, oh yeah, I did that one time. Let me go back and look. So
this is actually great right after our conversation yesterday and going over some of this.
Isn't it?
This is a real refresher. This is not a refresher. This is, active work the day after training. So it's awesome.
It's reinforcement. And that's why I said, let's talk about it because of what we talked about yesterday. So find out what medallions you got in stock. You want to get into the ASA Connect. Jessica can walk you through it, how to get there, because there's a couple of clicks you have to make. And then you'll be able to search their site or just call Jeff or call Benny, whatever his last name is, I forget. Jeff or Benny can pull that up as well, but you need to learn how to check stock because calling people is just a waste of time.
Right. Yeah. You showed me one time, I think on that one that we did, maybe a different one actually a few months ago. I remember I had access to it, so if I can't remember, I'll get with Jessica.
Yeah. ASA. So it's connect.asaabloy.com, and you click distributors, and then you get signed in, and then you have to click online ordering, I think is the next thing you got to click.
Right. Okay.
And then you click, it's like service center. Well, wait a minute, they're all service center. You're going to click, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, you're going to click the one that has a picture of a door and a frame. That's what you're going to click. And then on the left side, there's going to be ways for you to select, although it just asked me to sign in again. So we could, if you have trouble, text me, tell me to send you a Zoom link, and you can watch me do it online.
Okay.
So
I seem to recall being able to do it last time, so.
Okay.
But I will,
awesome.
if I have any issues, I'll let you know. Well, sounds good.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye, Rich.
Bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.